Hello, my name is Louis. Today you will learn how to use the Edit menu. Before to start, we will create a project with a monkey picture. Let's start with Undo and Redo options. Gimp keep track of every step you are being through. Let's erase the ape text with the Erase tool. To create more history, let's change eyes to gray in 2 steps. We can now test Undo and Redo options. Note you can step forward or backward more easily in the Undo history. Let's choose Ellipse Select tool and cut the Orion logo. As you can see, there is grayscale who represent the transparent layer. Now you can go back to paste the copy in the logo.xcf project. With the Move tool, place your image where you want. There are 2 ways to use the copy. The standard way to copy a single layer. The copy visible. It's an option to copy all the layers you can see in the image project. We copy and paste in the new project the binary logo. You can also paste into the logo to specific position. When you copy an image, the selected layer will be the one Gimp will use to paste. In the Layers window you can see 3 layers. They can be selected separately. This is why you need to use Copy Visible function when you have more than 1 layer in your project. Now you can see the result of these steps. Note that the 3 layers are merged into 1. You can even paste as images in 4 ways. Paste as new image when you start a new project. Paste as new layer to integrate to a project. Paste as new brush to create a new brush. Paste as new pattern to create a new pattern. First, to paste as brush or pattern you can use Copy Visible. Then give a brush name and a file name. Choose the Airbrush tool. Select the brush type. Just hold the left mouse button for the desired scale. You can even choose the brush size. More options are available like New Brush, Duplicate Brush, or Delete Brush. After you have created your pattern, select the Bucket Fill tool. In this case we will use a white background, and then apply the orange pattern. The menu buffer gives you the buffers dialog. to view and manage any named buffers you have created. The cut named command cuts the content of the selection from the active layer in the usual way, but instead of storing the contents in the global clipboard, it stores it in a special buffer that you name using a pop-up dialog. For copy visible name, the command copies the selection from all the visible layers. For copy named, the command copies the selection from the active layer. Now you can paste named from the buffers list and use it with the right-click button. There is 3 types of fill you need to know. Fill with foreground color, fill with background color, and fill with pattern. Let's put the pattern to the project. You can choose foreground color to fill some letters. You can choose background color to fill the rest of the letters. You can use the fuzzy select tool and press the shift button to select many areas. Then use the clean command. The stroke selection command strokes a selection in the image. There are 2 ways you can stroke the selection, either by using a paint tool or without using one. This means that the selection border, which is emphasized in the image with a dotted line, can be drawn with a stroke. There are various options which you can use to specify how this stroke should look. Selecting to-path command. It's another way to work with stroke. Go to the Paths list and select the path you want to stroke. Choose the stroke line option between the current foreground color or the selected pattern. The anti-aliasing option smooths them out. In this case, the line width is set to 10 pixels. This page lets you customize the amount of system memory allocated for various purposes. It also allows you to disable the confirmation dialogs that appear when you close unsaved images, and to set the size of thumbnail files that Gimp produces. The number of undo levels allows you to undo most actions by maintaining an undo history for each image for which a certain amount of memory is allocated. Let's enter an minimal number of 15. The maximum undo memory. This is the amount of undo memory allocated for each image. If the undo history size exceeds this, the oldest points are deleted, unless this would result in fewer points being present than the minimal number specified above. The tile cache size. This is the amount of system RAM allocated for Gimp image data. If Gimp requires more memory than this, it begins to swap to disk. The maximum new image size. If you try to create a new image larger than the specified size, you are asked to confirm that you really want to do it. The number of processors to be used by Gimp. the image thumbnails. This option allows you to set the size of the thumbnails shown in the file open. You can set the maximum file size for thumbnailing to 10 megabytes. The document history. When checked, files you have opened will be saved in the document history. This page lets you customize language, layer, channel previews, and keyboard shortcuts. The Gimp's default language is that of your system. You can select another language from the drop-down list. You have to start Gimp again to make this change effective. By default, Gimp shows miniature previews of the contents of layers and channels in several places, including the layers dialog. Select the default layer and channel preview size to very large setting. With the Config this tab option, click Add Tog and Layers. Select the Hold Layers tab. Then click Close tab. Drag New Layers tab to its original place. To see the previews, just left-click and hold the button. Set the navigation preview size to gigantic. Navigate to the image display by holding the left mouse button and drag in the window. Let's check the Use Dynamic Keyboard Shortcuts option and set the Properties shortcut to F4. Click the Configure Shortcut button. Search for Preferences. Click on it to get New Accelerator. Type F5 and try it out. You can check to save a keyboard shortcut on Exit or save it now by pressing the button. You can reset keyboard shortcuts to default values or remove all keyboard shortcuts. First, to install Gimp themes, you can go to Google and search for zip file GTK2 themes for Gimp 2.8.zip. Note that if you don't know the path of your themes, you can check it in the Preferences menu. Download the zipped file and extract the content to the Gimp themes directory. Now you are ready to choose your preferred themes. Note that you need to restart Gimp every time you want to change themes. I choose for Great Themes for you. This page lets you customize the behavior of the Gimp help system. Tooltips are small help pop-ups that appear when the pointer hovers for a moment over some element of the interface, such as a button or icon. The Show Help Buttons option controls whether the help buttons are shown on every tool dialog, which may be used alternatively to invoke the help system. The User Manual drop-down list lets you select between use a locally installed copy and use the online version. Let's select the use a locally installed copy and install the English version locally. To install local help to your computer, search to Google for Gimp 2.8 User Manual download. Find English version and start the installation. After the installation, start Gimp. This page lets you customize several aspects of the behavior of tools. Save options on exit can be checked if you want, but you can already press the button to save tool options now. If you have to go back, you can use the button Reset Save Tool Options to default values. Snapping to guides or to an image grid means that when a tool is applied by clicking somewhere on the image display, if the clicked point is near enough to a guide or grid, it is shifted exactly onto the guide or grid. For this example, I set it to 25. Let me show you how it works, and place two guides vertically and horizontally. As you can see, when you trace a rectangle, when it is inside a 25 pixels, it's snapping. When you scale something, each pixel in the result is calculated by interpolating several pixels in the source. Interpolation means calculating intermediate values. When you enlarge, digitally zoom, or otherwise transform, rotate, shear, or give perspective to a digital image, interpolation procedures are used to compute the colors of the pixels in the transformed image. Gimp offers 3 interpolation methods, which differ in quality and speed. In general, the better the quality, the more time the interpolation takes. Gimp uses interpolation when you scale an image, scale a layer, and when you transform an image. There are 4 choices. Note that you won't see the difference on small files. None. This is the fastest method, but you should only consider using it if your machine is very slow. Linear. This is good enough for most purposes. Cubic. This is the best choice, although it can actually look worse than linear for some types of images, but also the slowest. Since Gimp 2.6, this method has been the default. Sync. This method performs a high-quality interpolation. Paint options shared between tools give you a way to share options, like mode or opacity. In this case, I prefer don't share. As you can see, the brush can be shared or independent. The set layer or path as active. Decide here whether changing the current layer or path when using the Move tool and without pressing any key. If you prefer not to check this option, Gimp will not select the layer automatically in the Layers window, and you will need to click every time the layer you needed it. This page lets you customize the appearance of the toolbox by deciding whether the 3 context information areas should be shown at the bottom. The Show Foreground and Background Color controls whether the color area on the left appears in the toolbox. The Show Active Brush Pattern and Gradient controls whether the area in the center with the brush pattern and gradient icons appears in the toolbox. The Show Active Image controls whether a preview of the current active image appears on the right. The Tools Configuration. In this list, tools with an eyes are present in the toolbox. By default, color tools have no eyes. You can add them to the toolbox by clicking the corresponding checkbox. You can also sort tools by priority using the arrow up and down buttons at the bottom of the dialog. This tab lets you customize the default settings for the new image dialog. Rather than entering all the values by hand, you can select some predefined values for your image from a menu of templates, which represent image types that are somewhat commonly useful. Here you set the width and height of the new image. The default units are pixels, but you can choose a different unit if you prefer, using the adjoining menu. There are two buttons which toggle between portrait and landscape mode. What they actually do is to exchange the values for width and height. You can even use the advanced options to determine the physical size when you print a document. In this case, the X and Y resolution at 72 pixels per inch. The image is created in the red, green, blue color system, or in grayscale. You can choose to fill your image project with background or foreground color. You can also select white, or use transparency with the file formats, like GIF or PNG. Let's configure options and see how the quick mask works. The usual selection tools involve tracing an outline around an area of interest, which does not work well for some complex selections. The quick mask, however, allows you to paint a selection instead of just tracing its outline. Let's click on the Quick Mask button and start to work. There are a few steps to get ready to copy the gorilla image. You first need to select the Erase tool and set the foreground to black. Now it's ready to copy as a new image the selection. This page lets you customize the default properties of the Gimp grid, which can be toggled on or off using the Show Grid of the submenu from View. I choose the intersections crosshairs. This style, the least conspicuous, shows a simple dot at each intersection of the grid lines. For the foreground and background, try to choose colors that's not used in the image. You can select the cell size of the grid and the unit of measurement. You can set the offset of the first cell. The coordinate origin is the upper left corner of the image. By default, the grid begins at the coordinate origin, 0 by 0. Don't forget to restart to apply settings. This page lets you customize several aspects of the behavior of image windows. Using .4. means that at 1 by 1 zoom, each pixel as the image is scaled to 1 pixel on the display. If .4. is not used, then the displayed image size is determined by the X and Y resolution of the image. When you create a selection, the edge of it is shown as a dashed line with dashes that appear to move. The smaller the value entered here, the faster the ants march. If resize Windows on Zoom is checked, then each time you zoom the image window will automatically resize to follow it. Otherwise, the image window will maintain the same size when you zoom the image. If resize window on image size change is checked, then each time change the size of the image. By cropping or resizing it, the image window will automatically resize to follow. Otherwise, the image window will maintain the same size. To resize the image, press and hold the Control key, then use the rolling button to zoom in or zoom out. With initial zoom ratio, you can choose either to have images, when they are first opened, scaled so that the whole image fits comfortably on your display, or else shown in 1:1 zoom ratio. If you choose the second option, and the image is too large to fit on your display, the image window will maintain the same size. While spacebar is pressed, you can select No Action, Pan, View, which is the default, or Toggle to Move tool. Let's check it out. As you can see, all the visible images moving together in pan view when you press spacebar and hold the left button while moving. In Toggle to Move tool, when you press spacebar, the Move tool appears and replaces the actual tool selected. In pan view, when you press spacebar, the all image move. The Show Brush Outline. If this option is checked, then when you use a paint tool, the outline of the brush will be shown on the image as you move the pointer around. The Show Paint Tool Cursor. If this is checked, a cursor will be shown. This is in addition to the brush outline. If the brush outline is being shown, the type of cursor is determined by the next option. You can select many ways to change how the cursor is shown. Let's try it out. This page lets you customize the default appearance of image windows for normal mode and for full screen mode. All of the settings here can be altered with an image-specific basis using entries in the View menu. The only parts that may need further explanation are the ones related to padding. Padding is the color shown around the edges of the image if it does not occupy all of the display area. You can choose among 4 colors from the padding color, to use the color specified by the current theme, to use the light or dark colors specified for checks, such as representing transparent parts of the image, or to use a custom color, which can be set using the color button for custom padding color. One thing you can do, it's to configure full screen with the show grid checked, so you can switch faster between views with the F11 key. This page lets you customize the text that appears in 2 places, the title bar of an image and the status bar. The title bar should appear above the image, however this depends on cooperation from the window manager, so it is not guaranteed to work in all cases. The status bar appears underneath the image on the right side. You can choose among several predefined formats, or you can create one of your own by writing a format string in the entry area. Here is the variable and their meaning. This page lets you customize the way transparent parts of an image are represented, and lets you recalibrate the resolution of your monitor. By default, Gimp indicates transparency using a checkerboard pattern with mid-tone checks, but you can change this if you want, either to a different type of checkerboard or to solid black, white, or gray. Here you can alter the size of the squares in the checkerboard pattern, used to indicate transparency. The PPI stand for point per inches of a computer display. If Gimp doesn't detect automatically the PPI resolution, you will have to calculate and adjust it manually. First, check your screen resolution by clicking the right button and select Screen Resolution. As you can see, the current resolution is 1920 by 1080. This formula is based on a resolution of 1920 by 1080 ppi and a diagonal screen size 23.6. The result is 93.34 ppi. It's now your turn to calculate with your screen settings. To calculate the resolution automatically, go to Convert for Free website. ICC means International Color Consortium. First search LPROF download. This is a free new ICC creator. Create your ICC files with LPROF. Create an ICC folder to copy your profile in it. Now you are ready to select and test your profile's configuration. If you want to find more ICC file samples, search for ICC Profile Registry. This page lets you customize the Gimp color management. Some of the options let you choose a color profile from a menu. If the desired profile is not on the menu yet, you can add it by clicking on the Select Color Profile from Disk. For the mode of operation option, you can choose from No Color Management. Choosing this selection shuts down the color management in Gimp completely. Color Manage Display. With this selection you can enable the Gimp color management to provide a fully corrected display of the images according to the given color profile for the display. Print Simulation. When choosing this selection, you enable the Gimp color management not only to apply the profile for the display, but also the selected printer simulation profile. Doing so, you can preview the color results of a print with that printer. RGB Profile helps you select the default color profile for working with RGB images. CMYK Profile helps you select the default color profile for conversion between RGB for the screen work and CMYK for printing. For Monitor Profile, you can choose a color profile is used to display Gimp on the screen, or activate the try to use the System Monitor Profile. Rendering intents are ways of dealing with colors that are out of range for colors present in the source space that the destination space is incapable of producing. Perceptual, this rendering intent is typically used for photographic content. It scales one gamut to fit into the other while maintaining the relative position of colors. Relative colorimetric, this rendering intent is typically used for spot colors. Colors that are not out of gamut are left unchanged. Colors outside the gamut are converted to colors with the same lightness, but different saturation at the edge of the gamut. Saturation. This method is typically used for business graphics. The relative saturation of colors is mostly maintained, but lightening is usually changed. Absolute colorimetric. This rendering intent is most often used in proofing. It preserves the native device white point of the source image. The selected color profile is used for the print simulation mode. You should select a printer profile for this option. You can use the menu to select the rendering intent for the soft proof. They are the same as already described for the display rendering intent. If you enable the Mark Out of Gamut color option, all pixels that have a color that is not printable are marked by a special color. Which color is used for this can also be chosen by you. You can do this simply by clicking on the color icon on the right besides the checkbox. Using File Open Behavior, you can determine how Gimp behaves when opening a file that contains an embedded color profile that is not matched the workspace's RGB. You can choose from the following entries. Ask what to do. If selected, Gimp will ask every time what to do. Keep embedded profile. If you choose this, Gimp will keep the attached profile and not convert the image to the workspace. The image is displayed correctly anyways, because the attached profile will be applied for display. Convert to RGB workspace. By choosing this entry, Gimp will automatically use the attached color profile to convert the image to the workspace. Input devices allows you to set the devices associated with your computer like tablet, MIDI, keyboard. If you plan to buy a pen tablet or pen display, you can search for Wacom tablet. You can also search on YouTube for Wacom pen tablet or Wacom pen display to see the difference. If you're looking place to buy, you should go to Amazon website or Wacom website. If you still looking how to configure Wacom pen, please browse to YouTube and search for how to configure your Wacom tablet and install. This page lets you customize the way windows are handled in Gimp. If you choose Utility window, the Reduce button in the title bar is absent, and the docks will remain permanently on your screen. If you choose Normal window, they will be treated like any other windows. If you choose Keep Above, they will be kept in front of every other window at all times. Note that changes you make here will not take effect until the next time you start Gimp. Activate the focused image. Normally, when you focus an image window, it becomes the active image for Gimp, and therefore the target for any image-related actions you perform. When Activate the focused image is checked, you can see the Layers window change focused when you select the image frame. Save window positions on exit. If this option is checked, the next time you start Gimp, you will see the same set of dialog windows in the same positions they occupied when you last exited. Save window positions now. This button is only useful if Save window positions on exit is unchecked. It allows you to set up your windows the way you like. Click the button and then have them come up with that arrangement each time you start Gimp. Reset saved window positions to default values. If you decide that you are unhappy with the arrangement of windows you have saved and would rather go back to the default arrangement than spend time moving them around, you can do so by pressing this button. This page allows you to set the locations for two important folders used by Gimp for temporary files, or swapped folder. Temp folder. This folder is used for temporary files created for temporary storage of working data, and then deleted within the same Gimp session. Swapped folder. This is the folder used as a memory bank when the total size of images and data open in Gimp exceeds the available RAM. Gimp uses several types of resources, such as brushes, patterns, gradients, etc. By default, the search path includes two folders: a system folder, where items installed along with Gimp are placed, and a personal folder, inside your personal Gimp directory, where items added by you should be placed. The system folder should not be marked as writable, and you should not try to alter its contents. The personal folder must be marked as writable. These options are simple. You can select a folder, add or replace the folder, move up or down items, and delete folders. Let's set 3 shortcut, F4, for revert. In the search edit menu, find the keyword needed. Then click the action. When new acceleration appears, type the keyboard shortcut. F3 for single window mode. F5 for preferences. The window of the Module Manager shows the loadable modules. Clicking on the boxes in the first column of the modules list will check or uncheck the modules. The next time you start Gimp, any checked module will be loaded. The figure above shows the Unit Editor dialog window. The list shows the units of measurement which are currently defined. You can click on the New button or the Duplicate button to create a new measurement unit, as described below.